Okay, so welcome to this second webinar. On this webinar, we are going to explain a little bit more about features related to maps and location. Well, maps and location is one of the most interesting features that Apphive has and the most powerful also. You have many ways to interact using maps, also with GPS, with Google Maps, to create roads, also linear roads and roads using the Google Maps API. So today we're going to explain in general how you can use this integration into your application. For features related to GPS, you don't know to have a Google API since, well, the GPS location is obtained directly from your phone, so it's not needed to have the Google API. But for most of the features, you will need it. So the first thing we are going to do is to obtain the Google API key. It's an easy process. First, you need to go to Google Cloud Console, create a new project. It takes a moment. And once you create a project in Google Cloud, you will be able to enable the, yeah, here it is. Okay, so once you select the project, you need to go to the APIs and service and enable. And there are some APIs you need to enable to use in your application from the library, especially all the related to maps. Okay, you will need Places API to get well, suggestions for location. You know, like as in Uber, when you start writing an address and get suggestions. Also, you will need the Maps SDK for Android. This is not important when you are developing your application, but it's very important once you publish your application. The Directions API, this is important to, well, get the roads from point A to point B. The distance matrix, this is important to calculate the distance in 2 points on the map. Also, the geocoding. Well, this is the way we can't use the map and get the address from a point in the map. And also, well, you need the JavaScript API to display in the same way you use the SDK for Android, you need the JavaScript API to display the maps on the website in the web app. And the Maps SDK for Android is to show the maps in iOS in the same way than Android. Well, this to display the maps is free. So the SDK for Android and the SDK for Android are free. But the JavaScript API, it has a cost. Yeah. Well, that's basically what you need. Well, maybe you will need the static API. It's not needed for most of the cases, but well, you can enable if you need it. Well, once you have enabled the APIs you are going to use, you need to go to credentials, create a credentials, create an API key, and you will get this API key. And you need to go to your application and you need to paste this API key here. Okay, and that's all. Once it's added to your application, now you can use the map control. You can drag and drop the map, and you will see if all goes well. you will see on your application the map with a default location. So the map is the control we will use most of the cases here. And we are going to do some actions using a button. The first and the most basic is to get the location. Okay. So to get the location, we're going to add an event on press, and we have all these functions from related to maps. So the first one is get geolocation. To get geolocation is you only need the GPS, you don't need the API key, and you have different accuracy depending of what you need. The low power accuracy or the balanced power don't use the GPS. They use the near Wi-Fi, and it's okay if you only need the country, for example. But if you need the exact location, so you need to enable the high accuracy. There are two input fields to display on Android. Why you need the location? It's important to show the user always before ask the location why you need this location. You can do it this on Android, or in case of iOS, you can create a screen before run the function to get geolocation in order, well, to increase the rate of the user who accept to obtain the location. After you get the location, with this function, you will get the latitude and the longitude from the user. I'm going to send a ladder to show what you get. It's not necessary to have a map to read the location, no? But I am going to use the map in a moment. If I press to get geolocation, you will see the longitude and the latitude. And once you have these two parameters, well, you can save this into a database, or you can use this in different ways on the application. For example, I can center the map on the latitude and the longitude I am getting from the user. How can I center the map? Using the modify control. So I need to send the data from the function to get geolocation. You know, get geolocation has the latitude and the longitude. I need to select the map. And finally, I'm going to change the region. You have many properties. We're going to see some of these properties on the map. The first is region. Region accept an object with latitude and longitude. But if you want to send separately, you can change the region latitude or the region longitude and send only the single number. But for example, right now we're going to change the region, the complete region. So with this function, we are reading the location and modify the map to center the map on this latitude and longitude. So if I press get geolocation, you will see that it's centered on this location. It's only to center the map. We can also add markers that we're going to see, well, in a moment. Also, if you want, for example, to allow the user to change the location or to select a location on the map, you can change the properties on the map. You see that there is a field for the default latitude and longitude. So you can add the coordinates you want to use as a default and the zoom. The zoom, while is smaller, is closer, well, the zoom. Also, you have the, well, it is the same mode. If you don't want to users to move the map, it acts as a static map. Also, you have the map center icon image. If you enable this, you will see this icon or this marker on the map. So you can move the map to set a specific location on the map. You can also change this marker by uploading an image. You can upload an image from your computer. And needs to be a square image. And well, you can upload it. And so once the user, so now you can see that if I use the get geolocation, it's centered on the location from my coordinates. But now you will see the marker. Also, there is an option to show the current location pointer. This location pointer is this blue pointer that is different to the marker. So you can use this pointer to display where the user is located independent of the marker you are using here. So on this way, you can get the location, show the location on the map, and allow the user to change to change the region of the map by dragging the map. But how you can get the location the user is selecting on the map? Because if I move the marker, I am changing the region of the map. So I am getting a latitude and a longitude. You are getting this information in an event on the map. For example, you have different events on market press, on region change, and on region change complete. On market press is when you press the marker. On region change is called when the user is dragging the map and changing the region. And on region change complete is when you stop dragging the map and you get the latitude and the longitude. In most of the cases, this is the event you are going to use. And I'm going to send just a simple alert to show you what you get here. Basically, you get the same. You get the coordinates, the latitude, and the longitude, but from the new location on the map. So if you see that there's a latitude and the longitude. If I drag, when I drop, we are getting the latitude and the longitude. So this is useful also to ask the user for a specific location by using the map. But most of the cases, you don't want only the latitude and the longitude because maybe you have, well, you're asking the user for the location, but you need to fill some fields related to, well, the country, the street, the number. So you need a reverse geocoding to convert this latitude and longitude into a readable address. How can we do that? Okay, in the same geolocation functions, we have the function for geocoding. In geocoding, you need the latitude and the longitude. You can read this information from the event outputs, and you need to read the specific parameter latitude, and also for the event outputs for longitude. It works in any case you have the latitude and the longitude. The same when you read from the user location. And after user geocoding, you can get an error if the coordinates are wrong, or if it's success, you will get an object with all the information from the geocoding. It will include well, the country, the street address, the well, different things. I'm going to show you this in an alert. And also, there is another webinar most specific about debugging your application. But for now, I'm going to use this function we have for debugging to display better the information we're getting from the geocoding. To enable the debugging, you need to click on the function and enable debugging here. So when the function is blue because it's on debugging, you will get all the M3 bars and the old bars from this function when it's running. So I'm going to move this on the map. And when I leave, you will see all this information from the geocoding. If you don't see this information, make sure that you have your API, and you already added a payment method. Because if you don't have a payment method on Google, you will not see that information. This is all the information you get from the geocoding. You get the formatted address, which is the complete address from the map. You get also the location, colony. Well, this is most in Latin America, and all the components from the address. The address components, the long name, short name from the street name, the roads, the political, the political, the administrative area level 1, the country, the postal code, the zip code. Well, you will get all this information. That is basically all the information Google gives you. So you can use this information to display this information from the user. I'm going to give you an example. For example, to display the format address, I'm going to copy this. And let's say that we are showing this information on a text. I'm going to drag and drop the text and rename this as an address. So when I drag and drop the map to change the center of the map, I'm going to use the modify control because I'm reading the information from the geocoding, from the formatted address. This field is the field that we read from the results of the geocoding. You can also enable, for example, the booking in geocoding, and you will see the information you are getting here. But this is the formatted address and extra X. It's important to be well written. And then I'm going to change an element. I'm going to change the address text, which is this control I have here, and I'm going to modify the text of these elements. Okay, so when I drag and drop the map to change the region, it's going to call the geocoding, and after we get the formatted address and all the other components, we're going to use the modify control to display the address on this text field. So let's see how this works. Now you see that when I change it, we are getting the formatted address and display the formatted address here. Okay, so on this way, I'm getting the information directly and using the Google API key. On this way, well, you can use this map to ask the user for an address by using the map. So the next thing I'm going to show you about the maps is how you can add markers to the map, because also it's an interesting function. We have many functions related to maps. Also, we have polygons, we have circles to display areas. Let's do something using that what we learned a moment ago. Now I'm going to add a function on the bottom. I'm going to modify. I'm going to use the modify control to create a marker on the map from the actual region or the center of the map. So what it means, when I drag and drop the map, the center of the map, I'm going to add a marker on this position by clicking on this button. For example, add a marker. So for this is easy. I only need to use the modify control. So the first thing is the data, where I'm going to get the data from the map. For this, I'm going to select the map, and you have here different properties you can read from the map. You can read all the markers, you can read the region, you can read the latitude, the longitude. and extra data from the map. So I'm going to read the region. So I'm getting the same, an object with latitude and longitude based on the center of the map. I'm going to modify the map. Check. I'm reading the information from the map, but also I'm modifying the map as a result. And I'm going to add a new marker. So I need to modify as marker, and I need to set a name. I set a general name, for example, like marker 1. This will be always the same name for the marker. So it means that when I click on add marker, I'm going to update the same marker every time that I press the button to add the marker. So I'm going to enable this map center image to make easy to see what is the center of the map. So for example, let's see, I can drag and drop, and you see this is the center of the map. If I press on add marker, a marker is added on the current region, latitude and longitude on the center. If I move the center and I press the add marker, I'm going to update this marker location. So I'm going to move that marker to the new location. But why if I need to add multiple markers to the map instead of has a fixed name? I can, for example, add a dynamic name using the timestamp or add a unique ID. We have on the entry bar the unique ID. So it means that each time that this function is called, it's going to create a unique ID for each marker. So let's see. Now, each time that I press the add marker, a new marker is added to my map. So on this way, you can add multiple markers on the map. And also, you can save this information on the database. But most of the cases, you need to save this information on the database or variables, so you can use this information later. We're going to explain better how you can save all this information on the database on the next webinar. But for now, this is the way you can add different markers. Also, you can change properties on the markers. For example, if you don't want to use the default image of the marker, you can use also a modify control to change this image. For example, if I want to use a different image to show this marker, I'm going to add another modify control here. And I can change a specific property of this marker. What I need to do it is to change each marker has different properties. You can get this information when you press a marker. For example, I'm going to add this marker press and send an alert with all the information from the marker. Okay. So you will see all the information you have on a single marker. Let's see if I add oh, sorry, there is an alert for here because I don't have anything to modify it in this way. So if I add a marker here and another marker here, and I press the marker, you see that you have the marker ID, which is the dynamic ID that was just created. And from the marker, you have the coordinates, the latitude, the longitude, the width, the height, and the degrees, because you can turn the marker. So you can modify also these properties by using modify control, or also you can modify the image of the marker. For example, I'm going to add this other modify control now. And let's say that this marker is called 1. And now I'm going to send an image. You need a URL from an image. I'm going to get random. Let's use this image as a. Only you need the URL, or you can upload the image if you need it. So I'm going to send this URL. This URL represents an image. I'm going to modify the map, and I'm going to modify the markers. But to change a specific property, I'm going to change the one dot image. So on this way, I'm going to change the image of the marker I'm going to add. Okay. So let's see. On this way, you can change a specific property. You can find information about the properties the marker has on the information on the documentation. So now let's add a new image, do a new marker, and you see that instead of the default marker, now we have this random image that I used to display. So you can use your custom image and change also the size, the width, and the age. For example, if you need a bigger image, you need to modify also, for example, width. And you can have a bigger image now in the map. You need to change the width and the height. So you will see, let me reload. Let me say, you need the image with I'm sorry, with sorry, the spelling. Yep, 8. That's good. So well, this is a bigger image, but let's say 200, 300. Okay. So now you see that I have a big marker on the map. So on this way, you can change the properties on the marker. You can add a new marker by using the center of the map, and in the same way, you can get the information from the user geolocation. Another well, there are another features that you can use related to maps as an address and directions, but I use some time to explain this one. Maybe we're going to explain the different features on the next webinar for maps. I hope this explanation can help you with the functions related to maps. And don't miss the next webinar. We are going to explain more information now about the use of data and the database usage. Thank you. If you have some questions,